The story of Led Zeppelin is one of excess, brilliance, and shadows that never stopped following them. From the very beginning, the band seemed destined to break rules, whether in music, business, or the darker myths that surrounded their lives. By the end of the 1960s, the rock world was wide open, waiting for something raw, mystical, and dangerous. Jimmy Page, Robert Plant, John Paul Jones, and John Bonham were ready to step into that space, and they did so with a force that would change rock history forever. Their sound was a fusion of blues, folk, and thunder. It was heavy, sensual, and hypnotic. Songs like Dazed and Confused and Whole Lotta Love redefined what a rock track could be. But with their rise came rumors, stories of stolen songs, hidden deals, and a fascination with the occult that only fueled their legend. Jimmy Page, the architect of the band, was not just a guitar genius, he was also a collector of secrets. His obsession with Aleister Crowley, the infamous British occultist, gave Led Zeppelin a reputation that went far beyond music. Page even bought Crowley's former home, Boleskine House, a mansion on the shores of Loch Ness, where whispers of rituals and curses only grew louder. It wasn't just the occult. Accusations of plagiarism haunted the band for decades. Some of their most iconic songs carried echoes of old blues standards. Whole Lotta Love bore striking resemblance to Willie Dixon's You Need Love. Stairway to Heaven faced claims of copying from Spirit's instrumental Taurus. While the band fought lawsuits and denied wrongdoing, critics argued that Zeppelin blurred the line between influence and theft. To their fans, however, the controversy only made them more untouchable. To outsiders, it painted them as thieves of tradition. To insiders, they were simply amplifying what came before, turning the roots of blues into something monstrous and new. Behind the glamour of sold-out arenas, the band's life on the road was filled with excess and chaos. Led Zeppelin was infamous for their hedonism. Their tours became the stuff of legend, stories of destroyed hotel rooms, rivers of alcohol, and encounters that blurred the lines between celebration and abuse. Groupies, drugs, and reckless abandon were not just part of the myth. They were the reality of a band living on the edge. The infamous shark incident in Seattle, though never fully confirmed, became a symbol of their wild reputation, a story whispered in rock folklore about boundaries crossed and morals shattered. But it wasn't all spectacle. Inside the band, tensions ran high. Jimmy Page's deepening drug addiction in the mid-70s threatened their stability. Robert Plant faced personal tragedy when his young son Carrick died in 1977, an event that nearly broke him and the band apart. And then came 1980. John Bonham, the thunderous heartbeat of Zeppelin, died after a night of heavy drinking. His death was both shocking and inevitable. The band issued a simple statement: they could not continue without him. For Led Zeppelin, it was the end of an era. But like all legends, endings are rarely clean. The mythology of Led Zeppelin has always been tied to darkness. Fans and journalists spoke of a curse, a supernatural thread woven through their history. Was it the price of Page's fascination with Crowley? Was it the result of pushing too far, too often? From Plant's car crash in Rhodes, which nearly killed him and his family, to the constant lawsuits and Bonham's tragic end, the band seemed chased by fate. Even in their music, there was an otherworldly weight, as if they had unlocked something dangerous that could not be contained. And then there is Stairway to Heaven. More than a song, it became an anthem, a sacred piece of rock mythology. But it also carried with it accusations of satanic messages when played backward. Evangelical groups in the 1980s pointed to hidden phrases, claiming the song was proof of Zeppelin's pact with the devil. Of course, the band denied it all. Yet the whispers never stopped. The occult, the drugs, the plagiarism, the debauchery, it all fused into a narrative that was impossible to untangle from the music itself. What makes Led Zeppelin's story so powerful is not just their art, but the contradictions at its core. They were thieves and innovators, geniuses and destroyers, visionaries and addicts. Their crimes, whether real, imagined, or exaggerated, fed the legend. And their music, timeless and untouchable, continues to echo with a power that feels both divine and damned. In the end, Led Zeppelin was not simply a band. They were an empire of sound, built on riffs and shadows, destined to live forever in the mythology of rock. And maybe that is the truest crime of all. Not the lawsuits, not the occult rituals, not the broken hotel rooms or the lives lost to excess, but the fact that they took everything, the blues, the folk traditions, the chaos of the 20th century, and made it their own. In doing so, they rewrote the rules of music, leaving behind a legacy that is both celebrated and cursed. Led Zeppelin never asked for forgiveness. And perhaps that's why they remain immortal.